This is Karen Thomas, and we are the Summit Seekers virtual morning coffee chat. And this group focuses on leadership, learning how to lead yourself, lead your team, lead your business, how to take accountability and responsibility for learning the things you need to do to run your business. If you have a question, I'd love for you to, send it to me, DM it to me. And here on this coffee chat, we'd be glad to talk about it. Normally we have 2 or 3 members of the community so that we get different points of view in different, areas or different sides of ways people look at it. If you love what you hear here in our virtual coffee chat, of course, give us a aha moment. But of course, if you're watching this on the replay, give us a hashtag replay. We'd love to know that you watched and that you enjoyed, and I'd love to be able to thank you. Leave us a comment about the coffee chat. This morning, it's just me, and that's okay because me, myself, and I get along really well, and we have some really great conversations because learning and talking through things does not have to be where you're by yourself. The best way when you are looking at a challenge is not just to say, oh my God, I can't believe this is going on, or the poor pitiful me scenario. What a lot of really famous people that I've read and have talked about their processes for growing and for solving problems in their business is that they laid the problem like in the middle of the table. And then they put other people that they really respect or value their opinion in the other sides. And then they go around and ask that person what they would do if they encountered the problem. If that's a little harder for you to do, then take yourself on all the other different sides of the problem and try to look at your challenge or your problem from different points of view. Try taking a different point of view and see where, if your best friend was telling you that problem, what would you tell them? What would you suggest to them? Because problems have many, many solutions, not just the only one we can come up with. So looking at your challenge or your question or your dilemma from different points of view can give you a broader sense of, well, maybe I shouldn't do that, or maybe I should. It's all about taking and thinking it through all the possibilities. So that was kind of not what I was going to talk about today, but it kind of just rolled off my thought. We always ask the community what they would like to talk about, or do they have something that they want to cover? And since nobody else is here, I had I've been doing, I'm always immersed in some kind of learning series or, a book. I'm always doing an Audible on something that I can learn and expand my thinking on. But I was doing uh, uh, one of the seminars, or one of the things that I was listening to earlier today was talking about how when you start your business, or say you started selling a product, you started using something, you started enjoying a product, and you say, oh, I gotta share this with other people. And then you just like, well, where do I, after you exhaust friends and family, how do I find other people? The biggest thing and reason people have a problem or seem to say, I can't do this, is they don't have an identity of a marketer. See, the thing is take a dentist. Say you were a dentist, you'd gone to all these years of school and you knew how to be a dentist. You could be a dentist day in, day out. You were really good at it. But you need to you're going to open up. You're not going to go in another practice. You're going to open up your own practice. How do you find patients? And the biggest thing that most people don't realize is that once you do something on your own, that you're not part of where you get a paycheck, where somebody else is, coordinating your funnel of patients or your funnel of whatever you do when you are in a job, is that you then are an entrepreneur. You are then your own boss. So understanding that your identity needs to shift into being a person who markets Tupperware products. You are a person who markets and promotes food storage or cosmetics or skincare. You are also the person who can do those kind of things. You're also the person, but you first and foremost have to adopt the identity of being the marketer for your business, because that is who you are first and foremost. Even if you know you're the Tupperware business inside and out and how to use all the different things, you have to identify as a business owner first, and then get the skills that a business owner would need to run a marketing part of the business. Because that is the major part. If you don't have customers, if you don't have people that you can offer it to, or you can work on, or whatever, then you don't have a business. But most people don't take the identity on as an entrepreneur. They just think, oh, I'm just going to share this. I'm just going to share about my Tupperware. I'm going to just share about my pharmacy. I'm just going to share. I want to share and help people know and understand. But see, that is not being an entrepreneur. That's just a hobby, because then you're just sharing it. So when you want to have a business that is a business, not just a hobby, then you take yourself to the next level by getting the skills that you would need to learn to market. And, there's so many ways and areas you can do it. YouTube is fabulous for researching or looking up anything, and you can find tutorials. But if you want to be faster at it, if you truly want to move your business into a business, being financially independent, having enough business that you could scale it. When I ran my business, my Avon, I was the Avon lady. I worked at doubling my business every year the first 4 years. So that I had a goal, and I worked at how can I do that? What can I became that marketing person. What will it take for me to double my business? And was doing that. Then when I got up to when you sell 30,000 in a year or 32,000, doubling it gets a little bit more challenging. But having that much business coming in also gives you a little bit more latitude to hire more people. Hire people to do some of the stuff that is repetitive and doesn't need an expertise, because that is what people with jobs do. They are working for somebody else's dream. They are part of the scaling of somebody else's business. If you are working a job and you are not making enough, bringing enough value to what you do to earn your job, then they'll have to find somebody who does. Every job has to earn its value plus a good 25 to 50%, because they don't want to just pay you to do the job. They want to pay and make money at you doing the job. That's what you have to do for yourself when you decide to be a business owner. When you decide not to just be the person who shares, when you don't want to just get your own products at a discount. See, when I built my business, I had a special needs child and I couldn't go to work. I didn't choose to be the entrepreneur. I just had no other choice to do it. So here's Miss Maria. Not finally. Maria, how are you? I can't see you. You're still muted. So sometimes with internet and stuff, it takes a few minutes for people to come in. But this is the part of being in business that a lot of people don't even think, and it doesn't even occur to them that they have to take on that identity first in order to become financially independent with their business. Hello, Miss Maria. How are you?
I keep forgetting I have to poke the thing that says, "Are you aware this is being recorded?" And I fight it every week and it'll click.
Well, I can't post it in the group if we don't record it.
I got it. I
can't.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I have my coffee. My hair looks like it's been
That's okay. You're
slapped
here.
down.
You're here, and that's what's important. I started because I guess every morning things are different. Weather is different for different people. You never know what's going on. But I decided to talk on identity today. And I was doing a training earlier today that talked about taking on the identity of a business owner, that when you are not working a job, when you are not getting paid by somebody else, and you decide to open your own little whatever you're going to do, that you have to take on the identity of a business owner rather than since most of the people here in our community are sales reps, of just being a rep. Because even though you're a representative of that business, you do not have any influence, you do not have any say in anything that that business does.
No.
So even though you're a representative, you either have to decide that you are a business owner who markets and promotes nail products, skincare products, jewelry products, but you also happen to be the person who, knows and does the coordinating of helping people make those choices. But you have to take on the identity of being a business person first, the one who does the marketing, because without customers, there is no business, unless you just have a hobby. And since a lot of people, it's the first of the year and everybody's, it's tax time. And, there's lots of, if you have a business, there are tax deductions for having a business and running a business. But the IRS does say that if you do not show a profit in your business 3 out of 5 years.
Oh, 3 out of 5.
3 okay. out of 5 years, that you are not a business.
Yep.
Now, that doesn't mean that you can't just not take some of your deductions and make sure you earn some money, which is when I've had when I've had several years of major investment in my education and this and that, I've just not taken the deduction so that I could still keep my business and make sure I earn some money. But the government is the first one who will say that if you're not earning money, that you don't have a business. You are not a business unless you are making sales.
Not true.
Hmm?
I'm listening.
Did you say not true or true?
Not true.
Okay, then tell me your point of view. I'm all ears.
Oh, it's on a public forum, but we'll give it a try. So you have to go back and you have to research why was the IRS started or invented.
Mm-hmm.
And by doing that, you have to go back just a little bit farther when two people that were rivals met up on an island and they just decided they were going to form this business. And the business was the Federal Reserve Bank. Now, as we know, the Federal Reserve Bank, it should be a bank for banks, but it's not. It's a business.
Right.
Same thing with the IRS. The IRS was to help and fund the war right after the stock market crash. And it did that. And they said, oh, wow, look at all this money we're getting. And just kept it up. It's not a keen subject I like to talk about, but you are still a business. Oh, Cat decides wants to come in. You are a business, even though the IRS says that you're not, because there's other statements within the IRS codes that state if you do this, 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 and this, you're a business, even though you only get to claim it for 3 years.
Okay.
But there's a parameter for that. So after the 5-year interim, you can go ahead, rename your company, and still be a business.
Yep. I didn't say there weren't ways around it. The whole thing was
Yeah, I do.
there's, that's what businesses pay great big money for, firms to help them move things around. Now,
Yes.
January 1st, now I was introduced. I wasn't introduced. There is a person in one of the communities that I am very active in that brought it to the community's attention about the law that was snuck in other legislation that is went into effect January 1st about registering any LLCs, LLPs, S corps, any kind of business that is registered with the state corporation commission. There are exceptions of how much money, if you have 25 employees and you do over 5 million, there are exemptions. But this law and this act is designed to go after all the small business owners. And if you have an LLC, but by the end of the year, it's called the Corporate Transparency Act.
That's what I wanted to know. Okay.
And anybody who wants to hear, there's a webinar. I would be glad to send it to you. He recorded all of the problems and challenges that are going to come into play for small business owners once you register. I can't go into it because I didn't research it. I haven't talked about it. I just was listening to this webinar. And right now I'm not an LLC. I had been looking into it last year to think, well, okay, as I expand my business, you need protections under the law and to do certain things. I was going to incorporate or have an LLC this year, but I am now will not do that. There are other ways that you can do the same thing. He is helping a lot of businesses with the attorneys that he uses. They are offering their services to reset up their businesses under what they call contract law. It gives you a lot of it runs exactly like an LLC, but it does not require you to register with this agency. This agency, the paperwork, now this is where he he has an issue with the government doing this is because when you fill out the paperwork for this registration, if you do not dot all your I's, cross all your T's, if anything is misspelled, if there is any mistake on this form or in this registration, they automatically assume that you are in non-compliance.
Huh.
And from the moment that you are deemed in non-compliance, there is a $500 $500 a day fine for being in non-compliance. It's scary stuff. And anybody who's dealt with the government, you know, they don't do anything swift. So you can send in your registration, get it all submitted, and 3 months later find out that you made a mistake. Can anybody afford $500 a day for 3 months in fines? Scary. Anyway, don't take my word for it. If you want to hear this webinar, I have the link for it. Be glad to send it to you. Because
Yes.
even though I'm exempt because right now I'm a sole proprietorship, I mean, it's just me. But at some point in the next few years, I'm going to expand. I'm going to be doing more things. There are ways to set up your business that you can keep the government out of the nitty-gritty.
Yes, and that too.
But you have to do it now. You have to do it before December 31st of this year because all corporations have to be registered by the end of this year or dissolved by the end of this year. So he is dissolving. He's had a corporation for 21 years. He is dissolving it and redoing his business under contract law. Don't ask me the ins and outs of this. I am just saying that if you have to listen to this information and judge for yourself. I've sent it to several people, and what he talks about is the inefficiency of the government and this falls under the money laundering part of the government. This is not under like IRS. This isn't under anything else. This is under federal crime. And they can shut your business down. They can freeze your accounts. They can just wipe you out if they think.
Yep.
If they have any notion or they think, oh, well, they didn't say this right. If they think do you want somebody else's opinion about your business?
No, ma'am.
To question and then just shut you down because they assumed or they just felt like it.
Yes, because they just felt like it.
It's scary stuff when somebody else is making decisions about your business and what you're trying to do with your business.
And the law that they use in the courts. Excuse me. Our law of the land used to be constitutional law. Well, it got all changed around the end of the 2 centuries ago. And, whatever they want to do in court with you is whatever they want to do in court with you.
Right.
But if you do enough research and you get it all set up, I did. I was going through a bankruptcy at one time, and I would get up at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, and I would research this in a cold basement, and I would spend a lot of time. So when it came the day to go to court, this is how they get you in a catch-22. The entity that had gave us our paper, and it's called legal chattel. This guy is bombarding me with messages at the moment regarding an animal. How would I say? They had not the authority to do banking in that state. That's what I had brought up.
Mm-hmm.
So according to the law, that was not owned by that particular company. So therefore, they had sold it to somewhere else. And in order for them to file bankruptcy on me, I had to have the original paper, the
Mhm.
original. So that part was thrown out. Had to. That went according to um went according to the law, but everything after that, all the creditors, some could get after me and some couldn't because of this glitch. You have to have the original paper. So
Right.
my first, second note was just, and I felt like I had accomplished something for all the time that I spent to research that. You know, you can do several different things on your own and don't have to pay the big bucks. But that's either here nor there. But I do know that the laws have changed to not protect the innocent, but to protect the ones that are, yeah.
Yeah. If you've ever heard Peter Sage's story, he was thrown in jail for contempt of court in the worst prison in the UK for 6 months.
Wow.
For contempt of court because what was it? Not IBM. Was it IBM? No, Hewlett Packard decided to sue him over contracts and stuff that they had done years earlier, trying to squeeze money out of him illegally. They knew it, he knew it, and he thought that he could just waltz into the courtroom, show it to the judge, and the judge would throw it out.
Money talks.
Oh, he said,
money talks.
Whatever lawyer tells the better story, whichever one pushes and does, and the judge, and and he'll be the first one to tell you, I was not prepared. I was a little arrogant, and I thought that it just didn't make any sense, and they threw me in jail. He said I was the only non-criminal. He says I was a civil person in jail in the worst penitentiary in England for 6 months.
Wow.
And he has a fascinating story. But anyway, but he said he learned a big lesson. He said, you either win or you learn a lesson. And it ended up getting all thrown out. But in that 6 months, he lost everything. He came out of prison, he said, over 2/3 of $1 million in debt.
Oh.
And no place to live, nothing. He lost his house, he lost everything, which is what Hewlett Packard was banking on, that he would not want to go through all of that, and he would just pay them. He says, hindsight is 2020. He says, I would do it a whole lot different now. He said, than what I did. He said, but he said, there's no justice. It's who can push and do a better picture to the courts. But the thing about this corporate transparency act is that it sounds all good. Oh, let's clean up. It's all under the money laundering. But because it's under a crime thing, it gives that agency carte blanche to dive into why you run your business. And if they don't agree with why you run your business, they can shut you down. This is for LLCs. I'm not talking about sole proprietors. I'm not talking about, I'm talking about if you have any kind of incorporation, or you have, but I'll send you the link, Miss Maria, and anybody else, just please DM me. For as long as that, it's one of those things that if you know better, you can take steps if you need to protect yourself. But if once you register your company, you're under the scrutiny forever for this company. It's kind of like once you get audited by the IRS, you are then in their scope of things. This is worse than the IRS. This is a crime thing. To me, this is almost like the hospitals deciding who gets surgeries and who doesn't, depending on your ability to pay.
Yep. Come on, Karen. Come on.
So
let the truth be known.
it's, and he said he's talked to so many different attorneys and CPAs, and they all, oh, no big deal. They're not looking at the consequences and the whole inefficiency of how the government runs anything. He said, but this has been set up. He said, this has been going into force for the last couple of years. It's under major funding. They have their own massive computer system.
Yeah.
New computers. This isn't, he said, if this is up to date, using AI to find and scrutinize all these LLCs.
Heard this on Channel 8 News here locally last night, that they're using AI for a lot of different things, to even go back and scrutinize crime that had just happened.
So it's one of those things that I'm not a fear-based person, and I refuse to live in fear. And even if the government took everything away from me, I'd find a way to walk, talk, and breathe. They're not going to, even if they take my body, okay, this spiritual soul, there's another place for me to be that they can't control.
Right.
Okay, so I'm not talking about living in fear. Please do not misunderstand that I'm being a fear monger, because I'm really not. But I'm glad I know about it, because I am not in that category. I could have been. I could have easily. There's ways online that you can get incorporated for $200. It's easy peasy. I'm glad I didn't, because I would be on doing it right now. When I go to set it up, I will be, I'm going to, contact this, these people and find out what it would be called. Because it's part of a community, I don't have to worry about them going anywhere. They're part of my community that I'm in. And because the community believes in helping the community, that's why they brought it up. They brought up what they had researched, and they had found about this particular act, that if you understand how different people's perceptions are, and how two people you can have a dozen people see the same thing, and everybody's going to come out with a different interpretation of what happened.
Right.
But when you have a government agency that has this much power, that their motto is act now, ask questions later.
Do you know what the name of that agency is?
Can't
say.
He said what it was.
It's okay. When you think of it, send me a message and I'll know exactly what you mean.
I want to say it's SENFEC. Senfec. I'm going to try to see if it is in.
Well,
he says what it is in the webinar when you watch it. He talks about what agency it's covered, but it is all about money laundering. It's under a crime agency. So
it never used to amaze me. Never.
And this was not voted in by Congress. This was not voted in by the people. This was slid in attached to another bill. This was slid in. This was not voted on by the government. And they did it purposely so that it wouldn't be, and that they could get it enacted and start doing all of this and requiring all of this before people got too involved in what the cost of it would be.
I can't hardly wait to hear.
So, but anyway, that is what I was. Anything else you want to contribute?
That was pretty rich this morning. No, I did. Oh, upon a time.
As a business owner, these are the things that you have to take on, knowing about, even though you think, oh, I'm just a little representative. I'm just a little Avon lady, the Scentsy lady, the Tupperware lady. you are a hobby as long as you are not trying to make major money. If you're just trying to make, $10 here and $10 there, it's not a big deal.
Nope.
But for those like me, when I ran my business, I needed to make money. I had a corporate job and I needed to make corporate job money. I had to find a way to pay for our health insurance. I had to find a way to have a car and gas to get my daughter back and forth to clinics and physical therapies. And, I had to find a way to make money. And so I was always looking at how I could, move my business. I was very creative. I built a huge business. I for the longest time I didn't own up to. I played small, and I wouldn't tell people. I would tell people, oh yeah, my business did $150,000 a year. I mean, I ran that business for over 10 years, making over $100,000 in sales. So when you calculate it, I've sold over $1 million in product for that company. At this point in time, it's probably going on more on $2 million, but that's neither here nor there. Once you get over the 1 million, I'm just like. So when you're wanting to do a business and make money, it's all possible, but you have to start thinking like a business owner, not just a little representative. And if you're going to be wanting to make money, then you need to know the parameters of the law now, because if you want this webinar and hear it, he said that everything changed the first of the year. What was normally a protected, wonderful place to be as an LLC, he said no longer is a safe and wonderful place. And there are other areas and other ways to form your business when you want to have it where you are a business, not just a hobby. You just have to know the ways to do it. And if you ask just your regular attorney or CPA, they don't think no big deal of this.
Nope.
Because the repercussions have not really started happening on a regular basis. In another year to 2 years, when all of the registrations have to be in by the end of the year, you're going to start seeing them go through and start evaluating these companies, because they are looking for people who are laundering money. Now, you can say, I don't launder no money, but if they think in any way that you're covering up money, that you're not being forthcoming, once you're registered, they can go back however many years and look at your records. They can look at everything.
Bring them on.
So that is what I'm not trying to hide or anything or do anything, but anybody can misinterpret you can make anything look bad. You can make any type of activity look like you're being corrupt or you're being non-honest, that you're not being honest with stuff. You can make anything look that way. They can turn it around and make it look like you are being a criminal.
I want to know how come this hasn't been brought to the limelight. Usually things like this are caught by somebody that can see the ramifications of it down the road. And
he's trying to let people know, but because it was slid in, it wasn't voted on. And when they start getting prosecuting and you have all of these companies, it's gonna be too late. Once they freeze your accounts and you're starting to yell and scream, it's gonna be too late.
Yep.
So the thing is be aware. Let's get the message out there, us that happen to be in the right place at the right time, to hear somebody who has looked into this, because there's people who follow and keep up with regulations and things as they change, because of their kinds of businesses. And why he did it, this webinar didn't cover his whys of he started getting into this, but I'm just glad he did, and I'm glad I got to hear it so that I don't make the mistake of being an LLC at
I'm
this
glad.
time.
Very
I don't
glad.
know, huh?
I'm very glad.
So I don't know if there's anybody out there in our community that, is an LLC, but they may know somebody. If you know somebody who has a business, before you go register, or tell them before they register, see this webinar and make sure that you understand what you're signing up in when you get it done. So until next week. Now, I was supposed to
I wonder
have,
what the ramifications are for once being an LLC, and then I think I closed it. I mean, what can they drum up there? I mean,
well, you need to make sure it's closed, only because if you don't register it, there again, there are fines. And they're not $10 a day. They're $500 a day for non-compliance.
boy, this was a 2 cup of coffee morning, I tell you.
Well, I almost didn't until I got into, because it took me 2 days to get enough time to listen through, or I listened to 3/4 of it and then I had to leave and I had to come back and listen to the last 15 minutes of it. I didn't sleep well that night. And the next morning when I listened to the rest of it, I felt better because I realized that I was not a part of that at this moment. But if I don't, unless I want to stay right under the legal parts that I'm at, which I don't know is good for me either, because if I start making and getting, especially with speaker training and moving my business up, I'm not doing this as a hobby. I want to be making money. I want to be able to travel and enjoy life. And you have to know how to manage your books. You have to know how to manage how you're doing that. Anybody who wants to be a millionaire, you better be figuring out how you cannot give half of it to the government. Because the
They don't
tax,
deserve it.
huh?
They don't deserve it.
Well, we won't get into that. But the thing is smart businesses figure out how they can take advantage of all the laws that are there for them. But the average citizen, if you just file stuff and you don't look to see like businesses do and find the CPAs and stuff that specialize in how you distribute your money, how you set up your books, you will be paying taxes you don't need to pay. And that's just the truth of it. And it has always been that way. With this, it's just now a matter of, if you haven't incorporated, don't incorporate unless you want other people being able to judge and be in your business. Unless, because now you're not protecting yourself from the public backlash of anything with your business. You now are not under protection from the government.
And you won't even get the tax breaks. It'll be more detrimental if you register as an LLC or S Corp or any of that. Before, you would get a tax break for that. No, now you're going to be under higher scrutiny.
Well, you'll still get your tax breaks, but you're also under scrutiny. And
Yeah.
that is to me is where they have the right to shut your business down if any part of your paperwork is not correct and they think that you are hiding something.
I know, crazy.
It is crazy. But until next week we do have a speaker coming. I do have a class. I am in speaker training, and we have been challenged to have a class or do a some kind of speaking thing in front of 25 people, either virtual or in a room, before next Thursday. So I have a class on Friday night at 8 o'clock Eastern time. I hope everybody I'm hoping to get enough people in the room that I can qualify to make an A+ in this assignment. Please come help me. Please come help me.
It'll be next Thursday?
No, I'm doing it Friday night. I have till next Thursday to accomplish this.
Oh.
So
Okay.
I'm having an event. I'm having a class on Friday night, trying to get enough people in my room, in my training, that I can qualify for having.
Did you invite me?
I posted it, I do believe, in our group.
Okay, I'll look
I'm
for
in
it.
the process of doing the invites. It's just hard to do, thousands of invites at one time. The Facebook only lets me do 50 invites at a time. And so I've been sitting here trying to do invites, but some people don't look at invites. So I'm trying to verbally make sure people know please come help me out.
I'll look for it.
Please come show up, if nothing else, for the first 10-15 minutes, so I can get my screenshot. I can get my documentation that I had so many people in the room.
Karen, what time?
It's at 8 o'clock Eastern.
7.
I'm trying to have it late enough that most any part of the country, it's at least after 5 o'clock. But anyway, I appreciate you
You're
being
close.
here, Miss Maria.
You're close. Very valuable information this morning. Thank you very much.
I try to share what moves and helps us all being in business, because that's what you have to do when you want to be more than just a little share person. If you want to make money, you gotta think as a business owner first, not as a representative. And Maria, you understand that because you've been in several businesses, more than just your Color Street. But we all have to be aware of how to protect ourselves, still do what's right. I'm not a proponent of doing anything illegal or whatever, but there are steps and then there are steps. And that is where you have to make sure you cross your I's, you dot your I's and you cross your T's, and if you're going to step into that arena, you need to know what you're stepping into. You don't need to be going as a gladiator, going as a, what is it? What, like a tug of war, and find out that you are having to fight off the tigers
By yourself.
by yourself, with other people, whatever. If you're going to be in the arena, if you think you're going in to play tug of war and you find out that you're going to have to fight off tigers, it's a whole different ballgame.
Yep.
And that's all that I'm saying is you need to be aware and to listen. I'll be sending that to you here in a few minutes. Okay, Miss Maria?
Thank you very much.
All right, guys, until next week, we will have a guest speaker next week, showing or telling us about her opportunity. If you want to tell your opportunity to our community, please step up. Let's put it on the schedule for you to be the the guest speaker for the morning chat. I'm all about us helping each other step up and learn how to either talk about our business, how to get information about other people's businesses, because you never know who might have something that they can use or want more information about. And people want to deal with people they can connect with. Here's a format that we all try to get more personable with. So, all right, see you next week, or see you when I'm seeing you. Did you send me the link for Venmo yet?
No, ma'am, because I was texting with them yesterday and got a call and I never finished it. I never saw it. They only run it every so often. So I'm gonna run it often, and we'll do that ahead of time before
Okay.
our.
I was trying not to set that up until I heard from you.
Okay, I was under a sink yesterday for a bit, as you well know.
I do, but that's okay. It looks good.
Thank you.
All righty. See you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hi, my name is Karen Thomas. But guess what? That is not important. What's important is your success online. I can help you start a successful, thriving business online, no matter how many times you have failed. If you have a desire to win, you can. All you need is Wi-Fi, a laptop or desktop, and be able to follow simple directions. Reach out to me and I can show you exactly how.